Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. Today we're talking about a number that's hard to ignore, $1.5 billion.
Yeah, this one has been building for 2 years and it just landed. A judge in San Francisco signed off on Anthropic's settlement in the Big Book piracy case.
Okay, so break it down for me. $1.5 billion, that's the largest copyright payout in history, right?
Correct, and it covers about 500,000 books, which works out to roughly $3,000 per work. Judge Araceli Martinez Olguin gave final approval on July 20th.
$3,000 a book. That sounds almost small once you say it out loud, even though the total is enormous.
Right, and that gap between the headline number and the per author payout is exactly why some authors opted out and filed their own suits separately.
Wait, people are still suing even after the settlement was approved?
Yep, a group of authors and publishers argued the payout undervalues their work and that the claims process excluded some copyright holders. Those cases move forward on their own track.
So this isn't the end of the story, it is just the end of one chapter.
Exactly, and honestly, the part I find most interesting is what the settlement does not touch, which is the actual fair use question.
Right, because I remember there was a separate ruling last year that training on books counts as fair use.
That was Judge William Alsup back in 2025. He ruled that training Claude on legally bought copyrighted books is fair use. That ruling stands completely untouched by this settlement.
So what's Anthropic actually paying for if training itself was ruled legal?
They're paying for how they built their library, not how they used it. Court filings showed Anthropic pulled something like 7 million pirated books from Library Genesis and a pirate library mirror.
7 million books downloaded from shadow libraries. That's a staggering scale, no pun intended, given our banned word list.
Ha, well put. The point is, holding that pirated library was infringement on its own, regardless of which books ever actually got used for training runs.
So legally scanning your own purchased copies, fine. Downloading from a piracy site, not fine, even if you never train on most of it.
That's the distinction the court drew, and it's why Anthropic can lose on the piracy claim while still winning what is arguably the more important legal argument for the whole industry.
Okay, let's talk money for a second. I saw the attorneys asked for something like $187 million in fees.
They asked for $187.5 million. The court awarded $101 million. Still a huge number, just notably less than requested.
And how many authors actually filed claims? Because with settlements like this, participation can be surprisingly low.
Not here. Over 91% of eligible authors and publishers filed. That's a very high claims rate for a class action this size.
So what happens now practically? Does Anthropic just cut checks and move on?
They pay out the settlement fund and they have to destroy the pirated files and any derivative copies from Library Genesis and the Pirate Library Mirror.
And meanwhile, other AI companies are watching all of this very closely, I'd imagine.
Definitely, because none of this is binding precedent for Google, Meta, Midjourney, or OpenAI, who are all facing similar suits. Every one of those cases gets argued fresh in front of different judges.
So the $3,000 per book figure doesn't become some industry standard price for training data.
No, and that is an important nuance. It reflects the specific facts of illegal downloading in this one case, not a licensing rate anyone can point to in future negotiations.
There's also the Congress angle, right? I remember something about a Senate bill that could change the whole fair use picture.
Yes, Senator Marsha Blackburn has a 300-page discussion draft that would remove the fair use defense for AI training completely. Still just a draft, but it's a real signal of where things could go.
If that passed, it'd undercut the exact legal foundation Anthropic just relied on to limit its own liability.
Which is the irony here. Anthropic closes out its past conduct for a fixed known cost, but the rules for the next company in this position are still completely up in the air.
So the big takeaway for our listeners is, don't read the $1.5 billion headline as the industry settling the fair use debate.
Right, it settles one company's history of illegal downloading. The much bigger question of whether training on copyrighted text is legal at all is still being fought case by case.
That is a great note to end on. Thanks for walking us through this one, Maya.
Anytime. This is a story worth watching, especially as those other lawsuits against Google, Meta, and OpenAI start reaching their own rulings.
We'll keep tracking it. Thanks for listening to the Awesome Agents podcast, and we'll catch you in the next episode.